All right, yeah, welcome back again to the YouTube channel. I promised to give you an highlight about R32 refrigerants and how it actually works, its benefits to system and the pressure. Understand? You need to add or you need to use for R32 refrigerant so you don't overcharge it or undercharge it. Understand? Because you need to know about the high side pressure and the low side pressure, which is the suction pressure. For R32 refrigerant, I told you that R32 refrigerant is a standalone system. A standalone refrigerant in such a way that you can have other refrigerants like R410 refrigerant, which is a mixture of R32 and R125. Understand? But in terms of R32 refrigerant, it's a standalone refrigerant. R32 refrigerant is not a combined refrigerant. It's not a combined refrigerant. And also, I also stated that R32 refrigerant is a class refrigerant that is being classified into the A2L class. Understand? A2L class simply means that it is slightly flammable. That is R32 refrigerants for you. It is slightly flammable. Now, how to use R32 refrigerant is that R32 refrigerant, this, okay, for example, now this is my gauge. Understand? In mini split units, I use a single gauge manifold like this. I use a single gauge manifold. In R32 refrigerant, you observe that at charging it from zero, when you are charging R32 refrigerant from zero, understand, your gauge must, okay, I'm trying to get it clear so you can get, while gauging the R32 refrigerant, if you are using a single gauge manifold like this, you see that the single gauge manifold has two outlets. It has two knobs on it. Understand? Okay, it has three knobs. This particular knob is for the control pressure. Understand? You control the pressure by increasing it and reducing the pressure. Understand? When charging it. Then the other yellow line, the other yellow charging hose here enters this part of the gauge, goes through this part of the gauge, which goes directly to the cylinder. Understand? This goes to the cylinder, while this part of the gauge goes to the suction line of the refrigerator, or of the air condition. Understand? It's still almost the same thing. Suction line of the air condition. You get it right? Now, this part of the gauge is where you see your calibration and your reading. Now, how to use the R32, how to use this gauge to gauge the R32 refrigerant. If you observe the gauge, it is being calibrated from zero. It starts from zero. The next one you have is 20. The next one you have is 40, 60. It is being calibrated in 20 space, in a space of 20 units. Understand? Now, how to use it is that in R32 refrigerants, you have to gauge it, or you have to charge it up to 110 to 140 psi, which almost synchronizes its psi with the R410 refrigerant, which means if you know the gauge or the pressure for R410 refrigerant, you can as well use it for R32 refrigerants. Understand? But let me be certain here. If you are charging R32 refrigerants, understand, your gauge must calibrate up to 120 psi. But I mostly tell people that if you are at 110, you are good. 120, you are good. 130, you are good. Down to 140. But to be very, very specific, I would say that you should drop it at 120 psi. Though there is no specification in psi reading, understand? It just only give you a clue of what you are working with and the standard you particularly wants to use. Understand? Some other person may come to use something different, but you choose to use this. Understand? But you guys are still falling around the same pressure gauge. Understand? Pressure reading. So if you have your R32 at 120 psi, then you are good to go. That is for R32. You get it? That is for R32. And also, mind you, this adaptation mount, understand, this nozzle here goes for R22 refrigerant. So if you are dealing with R32 refrigerants, you are using the same the same mouth or the same nozzle as in R410 refrigerant. Understand? R410 refrigerant uses the same charging hose as R32 refrigerant. That is just it. So those are the things you need to note about R32 refrigerants. Thank you very much. Please do well to hit the subscribe button, do well to hit the like button, and as well share my video if you understand, so others can learn from it. Thank you very much. See you on the next video.